Now, as we're all aware, when it comes to lower rarity weapons, being rares and SRs, eventually there'll come a time where weapon liberation will be a thing, to where we can then upgrade those said weapons to higher rarity, which will make the weapon slightly different in terms of what they do. And it could very well make them viable, who knows. Now, there is one weapon that doesn't really get the light of day. That is right, because I mean, look, when it comes to wind, realistically, the west wind right now is the eye candy. If you do have the SSR longsword, then you know that has its fair usage. Realistically, you kind of want to get it into the A3 margin, so that way you don't so that way that you can really effectively use the counter attack without having to precisely counter-attack an enemy, right? It was automatically activate, of course. It's still usable, but A3 just makes it a lot more better. But this bad boy, look, I got bored and I was like, look, out of all the weapons we've been using, I haven't used hammer yet, so let me see what the hammer's doing. And again, just going through what the weapon is doing, I'm just like, at what point, or at what stage would I ever cater to this weapon? That being said, I feel like they need to bring out a game mode where it's more for survivability than it is beating a boss within a certain time period. I think we need to scrap that and actually bring in something to where certain weapons that are more for defense purposes have a game mode to where we can actually benefit from that specific weapon in terms of surviving and actually staying alive the longest. And if that is the case, if we ever get a mode like that, then this is, I mean, to be fair, this is going to be absolutely beautiful to have. So obviously when using the skill Earth Destruction, you get a shield equal to 40% of the user's defense. So this is another thing, this weapon does kind of run off from or scale off from JINWOO's defense, and I'm gonna be real, my defense is at like 5k, so yeah, not the best. So just wanted to double check my defense. So I'm at 5,799. So pretty much with that being at a 200% mark, I'm looking around about per hit with one of the rocks, like 10-11k. So pretty much I'm doing just over 100k within the 10-second period, of course. Cool. I mean, there's damage to be done. So if I correlate it with my attack, so for example, if I had like 20k attack for defense, of course, so if my defense was at 20k, then I'll be just under doing 500,000 damage within the 10-second period, of course. So you know, it's more leaning towards the defense, which, let's be real, we're not really catering to that. For this weapon, with the big shield that it applies, and then obviously with the surrounding rocks to do additional damage, again, for a future content to where it's more reliant on survivability, and I mean, and on top of that, if a wind attribute is also something catered to for that new specific mode, then I do feel like this weapon could be picture perfect. In terms of it going up and being upgraded to an SSR variant, I'm eager to see on what they're going to do to change it to be an SSR standard. Now, what I've done is I've also brought along the Demon Longsword because, well, I mean, technically speaking, these two weapons as wind weapons do actually work quite nicely together, especially in the shield department. You can really cap out on maximizing on the shield plate. On top of that, you can really also, okay, well, I kind of goofed up there. You can really maximize on the damage over time play too, because obviously with the longsword, you've got the lightnings, which, as I'm smacking, sometimes do come out and help me out. But you've also got the rocks. But this is why I mentioned why with the longsword having that A3 is much more beneficial, because you just have to do the skill, and then the lightnings will be in play. So you've got stones. Basically, you're like 50% of Ang, basically, or the avatars, you could say. So that's pretty solid. But again, so right here, we've got the lightning play now. The rocks are gone. They're back again. So this is what I mean. Look at that. I mean, obviously, if there's grunts all around you, it's got good support. So like, there are things being cooked up here. I just feel like the weapon needs a little bit more oomph to it, you know. Damage output. Okay, I'm getting my ass whooped right now. Damage wise, yeah, it's not quite there personally. I've got everything kind of like mid level 4, level 5, of course. Obviously with the rocks, it is scaling off your defense, which I don't know how I feel about that, since typically speaking, majority of us are putting JINWOO in that more offensive style, right? People are catering more to the attack side of things, of course. It really is just the artifacts. If you have any defense substats, is kind of where that's coming from. So in terms of it being in an SSR form, I do hope that they kind of push more, because one thing which I was afraid of with this hammer was maybe the skills were also scaling off from the defense. But thankfully, no, it scales off from its attack, so you know it's not all hope isn't lost completely. But it's a good weapon, more for the tankiness and survivability. I do see the weapon having its usage in specific areas, but right now with where SOLOLEVELINGSKR is at, it's more just offense, 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 not so much defense. So it is kind of putting the weapon in that terrible spot on when do we get to use it. So that's why I say, and that's why I mentioned beforehand, you know, if there ever is a mode where survivability is key, there's no timers, and we just have to tank, then having this weapon is going to be very valuable in terms of giving us that great deal amount of shield play. And then through that, of course, you know, if you have lost HP as I have, of course, because you've got so much shield to protect yourself with, you know, by the time the enemy can get back to getting down to your HP, you know, if you've got 2 healers like I'm running, you'll be healed back up straight, you know, beautifully. So the weapon is good. As of right now, it is not worth doing up. Don't waste your resources like how I had done it. Again, I was bored, I had the means to, so I did what I did. But I really wouldn't, yeah, don't. It's not worth it. Insane amount of shields, but outside of that, unfortunately, the weapon is a bit lackluster, and yeah, it needs a specific time, or a specific mode for it to be. Okay, what is going on? How are you not dead yet? Oh wait, I forgot you're an undead. Well then again, I've done this fight anyway, so it is what it is. But I just kind of wanted to show you guys this combination. It's a decent combination, and yeah, we're doing chip damage. We're getting there. 30k apiece, 29. We're getting there. I like the weapon. It's a decent weapon, but unfortunately, with the way they've gone about it and with how the content is with SOLOLEVELINGSKR, there is just 0 to no usage for it. Oh, I forgot to mention, yeah, the percentage scaling is not the best either. Like with all that you invest in, yeah, it's a no-no. I feel like for a weapon like this, and it does have a slight little slow attack speed, I feel like the damage should be a little bit more. I don't know, I'm looking at this weapon, I'm just like, this surely should be doing way more damage. You know what they should have done? I can't remember where it's from. I don't know, maybe it's from Warhammer, I'm not too sure. But put like, no, it's from Overwatch. Oh god, this might be copyright. But like put jets in the back of it. Oh my god, wait, if they change up the design when it gets to Liberated to SSR, developers, please put on rocket jets on the back of this bad boy. And then, yeah, because then at that point, we could do so much more damage. Imagine a weapon that just propels you towards the enemy and just absolutely obliterates them. Slow in attack speed, so that's the kind of trade-off. Like the weapon is slow, which means you have to pick your moments to attack. You can't just fire off your weapons willy-nilly. But the trade-off is that the weapon itself does great deal of damage. I think that would be pretty solid to see. But I don't know if that would work for SOLOLEVELINGSKR with the gameplay style. But anyway, food for thought, food for thought. We'll see what happens when it gets liberated and where this weapon goes. But yeah, a weapon that no one uses, and I get it. Good shield though. I'm always going to say that. Yeah, good about shield, good about shield. Damage wise, let's not talk about that.